the most powerful guidance system wasn't in your head, but in your hands? On this episode of Mind Over Matter, we welcome the extraordinary Jen Aks, leadership coach, author, speaker, and the visionary creator of the power of gesture. With 30 plus years of experience in dance, somatics, and emotional intelligence, Jen helps leaders and individuals access the body's deepest wisdom to lead with clarity, connection, and truth. If mindset work hasn't cracked the code, maybe it's time to shift to the body set. So, Jen, what was the moment you realized the body holds intelligence that the mind often misses?
Well, I feel like it's been a lifelong journey for me. But I realized, I'd say in my late 20s, that, there was a real connection between not just mind, but body, that the body really knows. The body really knows all the nudges and sensations and emotions that we feel on a regular basis are all telling us what it is that we need to know for ourselves. And I think the first time that I really started to listen was in my late 20s.
That's amazing. So, how did dance first teach you to trust your body signal over mental noise?
Um, well, I've been dancing my entire life, and I always felt like it was a beautiful form of expression and connection. Um, and I think something that I just really enjoyed doing was, when I was in a space where I was dancing professionally or socially, I always felt like I could connect and hear what other people were feeling and thinking and experiencing to a degree. There was always like an energy pull and some people with an energy, I felt like I could move into the space and we could share space together, and others, it wasn't so inviting, or I felt something different. So there were a lot of cues along the way just with energy and movement really brings out that kind of conversation without words. And it always was remarkable to me how dance and movement really have the ability to do that, to either bring people in or repel people away. So to me, there was always like a conversation happening. And it was something I was always very much aware of, in tune with, and feeling led by.
Yeah, it's so powerful how the body always knows, even when the mind doubts or delays.
Yeah, always. It's fascinating to me.
Absolutely. So let's dive into the power of gesture. How does this practice work, and why are hands such a portal to inner truth?
What was the last part? I'm sorry. What I didn't hear that
Mhm.
last part.
And why are hands such a portal to inner truth?
Oh, yeah. So the power of gesture really came to be during the pandemic when people were, isolated and at home. And I knew that I could help because of my background in dance education and my deep understanding of, the body and the intelligence within it. So I started working with people virtually, and as a dancer, I felt drawn to have people use their entire body, but felt as though I would lose the connection with them if I asked them to stand up and use their whole body because we were in this square. So I asked them instead to just embody their emotions with their hands. And people were very open to it. I knew that there was something very magical here. And it really um, kind of revealed itself. The more people I worked with, the more it revealed itself, the power of the hands there. And then, so because this unlocking and transformation was so profound in so many, I did some research and found that there is real connection between the hands and the brain with specific tissue in the brain that allows for expression, that enhances expression and really assists with it. So there's a lot of science behind the practice, which is, I wasn't surprised because it was working so beautifully. And so that's how it all started. And then I just started to build upon that.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, can you share a breakthrough you witnessed when someone used this practice in real time?
I mean, there's so many. It's so beautiful. Like, one that I'm thinking of specifically is a woman, a client of mine had pain in her back, and we really acknowledged what the pain was. She described it, put some emotion to it, and then she created a gesture with her hands that really embodied the emotion. And then we brought her hands to her back and placed them on her back because the hands are so incredibly healing, and just had them. And then she started doing the gesture like around the part of her back that was in pain. And then we brought the gesture forward and sort of freed it in front of her. And it was unbelievable. The way we just were able to acknowledge it, give it a moment to just like feel and feel supported by the hands, and then really understood, allowing it to feel understood by, using the hands, using the power of gesture. It's really like another language, so just like speaking to this part of her with the hands, it softened the pain. And it was so beautiful what happened to her because she felt this freeing in her back. She felt this alleviated kind of energy. And she felt completely different at the end of the session. There are things like that that actually we use the power of gesture to help heal specific parts like that. And then there's just breakthroughs that happen just by, embodying our emotion with our hands, having that acknowledgement and that conversation, leaning into those parts of ourselves with curiosity and then compassion and sort of celebration in a way by creating this. I feel like it's very artistic, these gestures. It's just incredible how the energy of the emotion can soften, and also we can enhance the emotion of joy or appreciation or gratitude. We can use the power of gesture to raise up, turn up the volume of the emotion or turn it down. So there are so many examples of that.
That's amazing. And it's amazing that something so subtle can create
Yeah,
such a deep shift. It's like the body becomes a mirror and a map.
exactly. That's
Mm.
exactly right.
So, you talk about emotional and kinesthetic intelligence. How do these form your intelligence of how does these form of intelligence redefine what it means to be smart?
Yeah, so there's various forms of intelligence. Unfortunately, we're not taught about them. And so from a young age, we're really stuck in a limiting belief that intelligence is measured or is determined by how well you do in school. And that's just not the case. And unfortunately, a lot of people suffer from this. But I'm so happy to have uncovered Howard Gardner's work. He's a Harvard professor who teaches about multiple forms of intelligence. And the two that I really focus on are kinesthetic and emotional because we have both naturally. Those are our innate intelligences. Our body is wise. Our body can be used as a catalyst to help us heal, express, change, create all of the things. And it's not looked at as intelligent. It's just sort of taken for granted. Emotional intelligence we all have because we all carry this vocabulary of emotions inside of our soul. We all have fear, angst, curiosity, joy, love, acceptance, all the things. We just experience our emotions differently at different levels. And becoming in tune with our own emotions, being able to manage our emotions and becoming aware of others, it determines our level of emotional intelligence. And the good news is that we can work on it. we can expand our emotional intelligence. So if there's a person who feels very attuned with themselves but not others, well, that can be worked on. If someone feels very in tune with others and not themselves, well, that can be worked on. IQ kind of caps at early 20s. Emotional intelligence never caps. This is something we can always build upon. So these are the two intelligences that I focus on. And like I said, mainly because both of them are innate, they're within us, and they're connected to the body, which is, what I do. Everything that I do is connected to the body.
Mhm. That's beautiful. So, how can we begin cultivating this intelligence in a world that's still so logic driven?
So meditation is I think a beautiful way to lean in, but through my work, the power of gesture is really an accessible tool that I created, developed, and teach. It sits at the core of my work, and it is the way in to really unlock and listen and awaken the intelligence within ourselves and learn how to trust it. So my practice, I advocate for it because it was birthed from years and years of as a dance educator and years of research in emotional and kinesthetic intelligence. And the best part about the power of gesture is that it's accessible. Anybody can do it as long as you're willing, because it doesn't require anything other than using your hands.
That's such a refreshing perspective, where movement and feeling become tools for mastery, not distractions from it.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Mm. So many people feel disconnected from their bodies. What's the first step towards rebuilding that relationship with embodiment?
So again, I think, I developed the power of gestures as a tool for people. So this is a beautiful tool and way for people to really access that. If they're not doing the power of gesture, then journaling, meditating, getting quiet. Getting quiet is really essential to just lean in and listen and hear and create space because we are moving so fast in our lives. And it's so incredibly important to slow down. We cannot heal, we cannot empower ourselves fully until we slow down and really connect to our emotions and and learn how to really listen. So, carving out that time, even if it means putting it in our calendar to just say quiet time for 5 minutes and to journal and to be honest and to remember that there's no one to answer to, that a journal is private, that our quiet thoughts are private. And so the honesty is really essential to just kind of listen, quiet the mind, take a few deep breaths and see what shows up.
Hmm. Absolutely. So, what would you say to someone who feels stuck, numb, or shut down emotionally?
I would tell them to get curious about why. The tendency is to wish it away. I wish I didn't feel that way. I shouldn't feel that way. There's a lot of shame and conditioning around that. And so I would say to get curious and to let go of the outcome of trying to feel better, to look better, to understand, or to relieve yourself of whatever the emotion is. Instead, understanding is what I mean. We have to get curious about ourselves and let go of any judgment. So ask the part of self, why do you feel this way? What is it that you're trying to teach me? When did you start feeling anxious? Um, that kind of invitation can really transform so much.
Yeah, that invitation to start with stillness is everything because even silence is a gesture.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
mhm. So as someone who coaches leaders, how does practicing body wisdom change the way people lead others and themselves?
Well, because then they're more connected to the truth, of who they are and who the people are in front of them. So leadership, that's really embodied authentic leadership when someone can really know the wisdom of the body. They know themselves. It's so common to lead from external places, subscribing to things that everyone else does, including values. And we really need to know ourselves first before we can lead powerfully and the way we're supposed to. So, really, the body wisdom is the place to start. And from there, it's like a domino effect.
Makes sense. So, have you seen the shift ripple out in teams, families, or communities?
Oh, yeah. So much. I mean, there's a million examples of, people that I work with. Not only do they start to develop and deepen awareness of themselves, but because of that unlocking, they develop and deepen more compassion for their children, for their friendships, for their family members, because empathy and compassion really sit at the core so much, because then you can let go of judgment of others and yourself. So it's all within first. It all starts from within. So when we really get honest and allow ourselves to be fully expressed and real, then we see how imperfect we are. Everyone has many imperfections, right? Which I believe are all perfect. Um, and then we deepen that compassion and understanding, so then we can do that for others, which makes us better leaders, more um, accomplished leaders, and leaders that people want to follow. And because you become an example, this is what people are craving, that authenticity. So it directly affects how you lead yourself, how you lead your families, how you lead your businesses, employees, all of it.
Mhm. It's the difference between managing from fear and leading from presence. Your work makes that difference real.
I'm sorry, say that again?
It's the difference between managing from fear and leading from presence.
Right. Yeah.
And your work makes that difference real.
Yes, 100%. I agree.
Mhm. So, true clarity doesn't just come from thinking harder, it comes from feeling deeper. Huge gratitude to Jen Aks for guiding us back to brilliance of the body and for reminding us that leadership starts with the gesture we make towards ourselves.
Mm.
If this episode touched something in you, share it with someone seeking alignment. Move, breathe, and trust the intelligence that's always been within you. Until next time, remember, it's not just mind over matter, it's body as guide.